Hey guys, how's it going? It is Sunday the 21st of October 2018, and I just finished dropping my son off for the weekend and thought, yeah, it's a good time for doing a channel update, just to explain where my head's at and everything. Really good weekend. It sucked that we couldn't get out, and that was, there was a couple plans. Plan A was to get out. We actually did get for a walk today, and then Plan B, or might have been A, was originally we were going to pick up an antenna for ATCS monitoring that a colleague, Dave, who actually I've never met, but through the ATCS community, actually built an antenna for me out of some scrap stuff. Which I thought was very kind of him. And he's up in the Hamilton area, so I was going to stop there, but my son has a tournament, a karate tournament in Hamilton next weekend, and my son really didn't want to go anywhere this weekend. I gave him the option. I always give him as many options as I can to where he wants to direct the weekend, but there's times too where I say, okay, well, like for example, he was trying to get himself out of going for a walk today, and I wouldn't have any of it. I said, listen, I could go for a walk later when it's warmer, but I like going for a walk with him because then I get to talk to him. And when I get to talk to him, we get to talk about things like, the future, him growing up, how he's going to want to spend more time with his friends, how I may have to fill in some voids when he's not around and decide what I want to do with the rest of my life type thing. Because I'm only in my only in my mid 40s. Sometimes I feel like it's the other way around, but mid 40s, there's going to be life after he develops a life of his own, and at this point, I mean, he's 10. He has no idea, at least, or he doesn't see anything changing with him and I. He doesn't foresee that, and I said it's going to happen. I says, if you want, because he says he wants to have one kid. I said, you want to have one kid, it's going to happen. Because you're going to have to date, you're going to have to get into some failed relationships. I said, you're not just going to date the first person you date and fall in love and get married. That usually doesn't happen, although it did happen with my ex apparently, which was probably a mistake on her part, or maybe a mistake on my part, because I maybe I was never right for you. You don't know until you have that opportunity, I guess. So, anyways, enough of the personal talk. I just thought I'd share that. But it's been a good weekend. Actually, I'm going to be stopping over at a Subway in the next hour or so, because all of a sudden my son was saying he's craving a sub. I was like, and I usually, I mean, I'm very restrictive right now as far as my spending. So on Tuesday nights we go out for pizza. Yeah, I'm getting into the personal stuff again. Whatever. Tuesdays we go for pizza at Little Caesars. It's really cheap supper. Not the greatest for you, but it tastes good. So what the hell? Tastes good and cheap it works out very well for me. So that's our Tuesday thing. And I know there's another thing in there. Well, no, that's about it. So I do a once of a week thing, and if we're away, or if we're say taking a day trip somewhere where it's inconvenient, we want a meal or whatever, then I'll go ahead, and usually I'll use the credit card on those days, only just because I give myself cash for an allowance for spending, and that's for doing stuff like that. But on Sundays, if things work out well, I usually will use the cash out of my allowance to spend on me. So it costs half as much for just to spend something on myself than to spend something on myself and my son. I know that sounds very picky, but I save a lot of money for trips, and money's tight. I'm trying to watch my spending. So yeah, I mean, that's some of the, as you can see, I breathe heavy there. That's some of the concerns I have going into next year. My car's going to get paid off. There's a lot of, there's a lot of things I know that are going to happen, but there's still a lot of unknowns. Like, well, what's going to happen with my income? Am I going to get a good extra amount of money for taxes? Am I going to get a bonus? Am I going to get some other money that falls out of the sky? I don't know. Am I going to have a roommate next year? Am I going to start dating next year? So these are some of the things that obviously are on my mind that I'm kind of working out and trying to figure out. Right now I'm very comfortable in the situation I'm in. I've had some issues. There's issues going on. There's an eviction going on with people who I think are really cool people. I mean, you've heard me, joke about the dogs and every now and then when they're barking upstairs. But honestly, they're great. I have no problem with those dogs. Those dogs have character. They let me sleep at night. I do not hear them when I'm sleeping. And I don't hear them right now. I don't know where the hell they are. Maybe they're out someplace. I have no idea. But no, it's not a problem. And apparently that's not the reason why they're getting evicted now. The owner wants to move in on the main floor, and they're talking about renovations. But he has to be there by law for a year, or else he gets fined. So if he doesn't live up to that, and there's another ulterior motive, which I think there is, because there's somebody else that lives above that is pregnant, and I got a funny feeling she wants the main floor. If something like that is to happen, and I find out, I'm the eyes and ears here. I'm the snitch, and I will be the snitch, even if it, puts me in the crosshairs. Oh, speaking of personal things, I know this was supposed to be a channel update. I swear it's coming to it. Promise me. Hang in there, guys. I've been saying for a long time how much, I got a lot of cleanup to do and all that stuff. My son basically today, and this was why it was a great weekend, I told him, I said, if we're going to be home, and we're not out and about and we have, the time to do it, we're going to spend some time. You're going to get a box of your toys or whatever, and I'll clean up with you. And man, did we get a lot cleaned up. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, whoa! I'm starting to get some storage space back. I'm like, whoa! I got walking space into the kitchen now. It's really cool. I was like, and then he said, and he surprised me because my son is very, he's very helpful. I mean, he's very helpful. He doesn't expect that much, believe it or not. He doesn't have high expectations as far as gifts and all this other thing. He told me, he says, well, I'll help you with this. So, and I never ask him. Maybe I got low expectations for him helping me out around here because he doesn't live with me, so I try to make it as fun as I can. But he said, well, now that he's pretty much done his stuff, and I still have a lot of my leftover stuff, he says he's going to help me go through that stuff. I'm like, whoa. I said, okay. I says, we'll only do a little bit at a time, but we'll do it because he's very motivating. And that segues into the motivation part. I should go into that part because the motivation is what is lacking for me to clean up. The motivation is certainly lacking. I'm still cleaning up. That's the good thing. As far as RTS goes, no, the motivation died. It just I got into the comfort zone of Mondays and Wednesdays, just dispatching and having fun and going through the process of the week, and that was it. I was fine. And this should be the last week, I believe. It could be as early as Wednesday. Sessions might begin again. If not next Wednesday, it'll be the following week, I would imagine. Because I imagine there's a lot of work that's been done on the server, on the Southwest server for Run8. But just going back to the RTS gears for a moment. And this goes to a personal story, but it relates exactly to some of the things we talked about today. And one of the things we said, because we were, for you, those of you that know card games, some of you might know a game called Uno, U-N-O. I don't know if it's Canadian or not, but I had it when I was younger, and my son just discovered it, and he loves it. And I think that's great. I think it's great that somebody his generation likes card games. And we tried this weekend trying to find a free, and I know, I mean, I want to make money off of people selling software, yet I'm looking for free stuff. Yes, I know, I'm on a budget. I'm willing to pay for stuff, but I told him, I said, I bought a cheap version of Farm Simulator for both myself and him. I bought, Run8's been well worth it. So was, I mean, there's a lot of different programs you probably see scattered throughout my desktop here. Flight Simulator. I thought Flight Simulator was going to be a lot more of a thing. That turned out to be a waste. I shouldn't have got into that. I thought it was a lot better than what it looked like it'd be, and maybe it still is, but I got the Steam version. It was just like, no. iRacing, that was a waste of time. There's a lot of things that I've done that has been a waste for me personally, and unfortunately, City Skylines, my son liked, I didn't like. So if I don't like it and he can't run it on his systems, well, guess what? It ain't gonna happen. But I'm very particular. If I'm going, my spending is very limited, and if I'm going to spend something on him and I, or just really for me, I doubt it. It's going to be something that we both want, because I'll find enough to do in the time that I'm not around him for the most part to do something. Obviously, Run8. There's cleaning around here that I still have. There's RTS that is still in the backbone. I'll get to that in a second. But the thing that what I'm trying to get at as far as the RTS side. Sorry. We were talking about this Uno game. I couldn't find one. And the ones I found were either single player, they weren't multiplayer, because what I wanted to do was we wanted to get into it so that we had one, but it wasn't working right, and it's just like, forget it. We didn't worry about it. And that's where we fell on this beauty right here. I can't read it from here. It's too far away. My son seems to be able to read some of this, which is kind of scary, so maybe I need to get my eyes checked again, or my glasses cleaned or something. But I cannot read what that says. Starborn. Okay, see, I read it there. It was just the background. Okay, so Starborn we found. But anyway, I'll get to that in a second. What had happened was we found Starborn, and I'll get to that, and I'm going to talk more about that. There is some more streams coming for that, but I want to reassure people, especially those with the channel, I'm not switching over to suddenly doing non-Run8 stuff at this point. The only reason why I'm doing it right now is because I'm waiting for Mike to come back from vacation, and then I will go back to the Southwest and start doing that. The RTS stuff, that will follow. Right now, it's non-existent. It was something I was hoping to do in the fall. It just I don't have the motivation right now. But this relates to the motivation for RTS, and it's not Starborn. What it is was, I was talking to him today, and he said that him and I we started programming a card game. So it must have been a very primitive card game that we were programming in Just Basic. And he remembered that, and I think I recall doing something because I could get to the various characters like spades and hearts and all that stuff. And I said, okay, yeah, I kind of remembered that. And I said, well, my weakness right now is, not so much low-level 2D graphics. I can come up with stuff like that. It's very easy. All you have to do is use Paint, and you can make any type of image in Paint, really. That's cheesy and low-level. I mean, to represent a bunch of cards with numbers on them, I mean, it's so easy to do something like that. You can even go so far as to use text-based. I told him that. I says, it doesn't have to be pretty looking. I mean, you could have it as basic as text. The problem isn't that, or even getting the 2D graphics. My issue right now is I have to learn more about finding the right application or game engine or something that will deal with multiplayer. That I don't know about. I just do not know enough about. It has always been my weakness. And it's a weakness that really, it didn't prevent me from doing an external dispatcher that I'm aware of, although I'm hearing that there's ways to do the external dispatcher with some of the older DLLs. I don't know much about the DLLs and all that other stuff. But we did get into a forum post about that. I'm not ready to go that way just yet, but at least we started talking about it. So there's some kind of beta or something out there that's actually another external dispatcher, because so far I haven't heard anything about Tscan. I keep hearing it's in beta. I keep hearing Run8 version 3 is being developed, but I don't know. Last I checked, although I haven't checked Train Sim, usually I check it during the week. I don't bother with checking it on the weekends. I usually check it at work on the week. You know, if there's nothing posted on Train Sim and they're not talking about BS, you know, half-ass comedy posts, instead of, you know, all the serious posts turn into a big comedy post. It's like, jeez. And I remember when moderators used to give me a hard time for going off topic. I'm like, I remember some wars and me getting into some real hot water and getting points deducted against me, or warnings from the moderators at Train Sim and all that other stuff, because honestly I'm not the type of person who is politically correct. I don't like being treated unfairly or biased. And, you know, when certain forums start treating me a certain way, and, you know, or one moderator says this and gets along and is okay with me posting something, and then another moderator comes around and says, yeah, you can't do that. It's like, well, what is it? Get your you know what together, and try to figure out. This is why I've left certain forums, and I don't intend to go back. I have too much pride in myself to lower myself to that standards. And I'm not going to get an apology from them, because they don't care about me. So who cares? If they don't care about me, why should I care about them? And I don't care if I don't care what they are. Some of these forums are long gone. They could care less about Run8, or, well, they could care less about train simulations, as far as I know. I have no idea. And then there's other forums that are the new official Run8 forums. And that's where and I call it that because that seems to be where all the information goes. Fortunately, I get, you know, Jason and Mikey post a fair amount on Train Sim, so at least I get some information as to what's happening with Run8. But really, I don't know. I have no idea. It's a little depressing, and that will actually motivate me to RTS more. And RTS is not dead. I just want you guys to know that it is not dead. And the videos that you're seeing right now that are coming up again, that's just because I got this little lull in between with Mike's vacation. Mike's, you know, everybody, hey, I took vacations and put my server down. So it's, you know, hopefully Mike's having a great time. And that's what happens when you rely on one server. You don't have a bunch of servers, or you have a backup. You rely heavily on one server, and then when it goes down, like, okay, now what are you going to do? Some people have multiple things they could do. I do. It's just, unfortunately, the other night I was looking through some of this stuff. I was like, okay, I really don't feel like doing that. Even Euro Truck Simulator, which I actually enjoy. I was into pinball. I was actually playing the pinball game the other night. I was so bored. But it was actually fun. It was fun playing that for a while. I was into Russian fishing simulator. That was weird. But it's pretty cool, but it got boring quick. EVE Online, I haven't done that in a while. But anyways, I'm talking about other things again. But my son seems interested into the programming idea because he sees a common goal that we both have, and that is that we want to be able to get something going multiplayer. I couldn't even get Starborn to work on his computer, the old RTS server. I couldn't get it to work on that. I don't know why I couldn't. I think it's a newer computer than this one, but anyways, no, it was having a problem with itch or something, and there was some kind of weird error. I don't know if it has something to do with the access, or it had my login or something, or I really don't know, but it would not install properly. So I uninstalled it. We tried reinstalling it again. It still was giving it a problem. Emmett, and I believe, see, he's starting to think critically. You know, like I said, you know, as I was saying about the whole reports of his teaching and him being gifted and all that, he's already suggesting, well, you know, he's 10 years old, but yet he's already suggesting that he thinks that he has to reinstall itch, and he's probably right. Ashore, which was the other itch game that we both had, works. It works fine on his computer, it works mine. So I'm not too sure. I said, I don't know what the issue is, to be honest. I said, I'll look through the requirements and see. I said, however, I would Starborn, I was even thinking Starborn would work on his laptop. Now, he didn't have his laptop with him. I told him, I says, why don't you try installing itch, and then itch is like a game service. It's like what Steam is and all that other stuff. You get these, that's itch right there. So this basically launches off the itch platform. But I said, why don't you try downloading itch, and then maybe first try itch and see if you can get into itch on your laptop, and then see if you can get Starborn working on your laptop. I says, if you can get Starborn working, then there's something goofy going on with it's likely your itch setup, or some configuration or something happened on, because he's got Windows 8 on his computer. That's the former Run8 server here that's in the room here. I got shut down right now. This is Windows 7. I'm so thankful. I'm on Windows 7. I'm not giving up Windows 7. If this computer ever craps out on me, I'm going to be so ticked off. But yeah, we'll figure out a way to get it going again. But no, Windows 7 is... I'm not going to that Windows 10 garbage. Absolute garbage. But, you know, Windows 7 is not the greatest in the world. I mean, I'm still a little DOS guy myself. But anyways, going back to where the channel's going. In the next little bit, you're going to see the only reason why I'm going to do another video on Starborn tonight, and possibly or very likely tomorrow, is because I want to have the live stream available so that my son can see it. That's the only reason why. I don't even know if he's going to use it, to be honest. He says one thing and then something happens and then he gets into something else with, you know, he doesn't live with me. So whatever happens at his place and something else happens, whatever, he will tend to find different things to do. So, but I'm going to relay the message to him. I'm dropping off that's, like I said, that Subway in another hour from now, and I'll basically tell him I'm going to start a live stream tonight at 6 p.m. Yeah, and that's basically what's going to happen. On 6 p.m. tonight, I'm going to have another live stream. It's going to be Starborn. Monday, I'm not too sure when I'm going to do it. It's probably going to be... It could be... Well, it's probably going to be a little later than 6. I'll be pushing it, but we'll see. Probably 7 or 8, maybe. I'm not sure. But I'll have 2. I don't know if I'm going to do the Monday one. It depends if... You know, I'm going to see about doing the one tonight. I'm not that impressed with doing that, and if my son's not going to use it and I don't see the views going up, I'll probably stop doing it as of Sunday and Monday. This is going to be a backup thing for me when I'm bored. Run8 is still the my number one thing to do in my spare time at this point. The only reason why I'm not doing it is because the server's down, and the only reason I'm using Run8 right now is for dispatch, and I'm not even doing it to run trains. If I had some interesting jobs to do, then, like I said the other day, I mean, it's the jobs that aren't interesting for me right now, and doing it without other people around or a dispatched environment to do it in is, and not knowing what I'm going to do ahead of time, and yeah, no, it's not exactly it's not exactly my cup of tea. And Run8 I'm growing old of. Really, I'm hoping. This is why I'm hoping to see what happens in version 3. I keep saying that. I'm not as excited as for version 3 as I am version 2, because I don't think they can top it. And I think there's going to be divisions a lot worse than it was when version 1 to version 2. Version 2, most people came along, and they probably grew more by going to version 2. Version 3, I don't know what it is that they're exactly doing or think they're doing, but it's their company. And as far as what I'm doing, that little card game Uno, or trying to do a free Uno, and this is going to be a free project that my son and I are going to work on. I'm going to learn the multiplayer with him at his pace, and it's going to be just like how we were cleaning up today. Having somebody help you is a big motivator. I've asked for help. I've got a little bit here and there, or at least the offers or suggestions. Having that motivating factor with you, or having somebody else on board. See, when it's just you and you call the shots, you better be, basically, I'm talking about me in third party. You have to be very committed to it. You have to have a lot of time, and you must be like totally into it. I'm not totally into RTS right now, because I'm not too sure where I want to take it. This for me is a waiting game, and now it's, people say, well, why are you waiting for what Run8 does? Why don't you just do it? Well, that's the thing. If Run8 fills in a certain thing that I'm looking for, well, then maybe I won't do it. So it's been about a half an hour. I think the screen just changed right now, so it's just about 4 Eastern. So I think I'm going to call it for now. I wanted to keep it as short as I can, but that's the way I'm going. So you're going to see a couple more videos with Starborn. I'm not doing any more with my son, even though he probably wants to. I don't know why he's so big on doing live streams, but I keep telling him, I says, for the amount of views I see, I says, unless you're planning to do Run8 with me, kiddo, I ain't doing it. I mean, that's my bread and butter on this channel. And, well, I say bread and butter, I don't make a damn cent off of it, but anyways, I wish I could. And I do. The RTS brand is very important to me. So I know where my interest is, and the numbers are not as high as they used to be. I think they were a lot higher when I was doing my own worlds and servers and all that other stuff. But unless thumbs up is somewhat motivational, or likes, or sorry, that's likes. Views are somewhat motivational, but being popular, I could care less. It's not really about that. It's about doing something that is beneficial to others, that's worth your time doing it. It really doesn't cost me anything to live stream, but why bother live streaming something if nobody's watching, or very few are watching? So if you guys are interested in seeing certain videos and you want to see more, you gotta let me know. I've seen a couple thumbs up. I think I have 3. Those are the kind of things that do get my attention and say, okay, you like what you're seeing, good. But if it's only a handful of people, it's probably not going to happen. If it's a lot more, then I'll do more. But again, I know who my core audience is, and it's those that want to see RTS, and they want to see more of it, or they want to see more of Run8, or they want to see more of something. One thing I will end on this, and I mentioned this very clearly, and I know I was supposed to end it about a minute ago, but one thing I want you guys to keep in mind: I'm still seriously looking at the potential for the Unreal editor, in as far as it relates to oh, what do you call it? Train Sim World. I'm very curious about it. I don't think, for me personally, I mean, the editors, they got to have something to do with activities, or else it ain't worth it. But I can't get myself into T or whatever the hell it is, 19 or whatever that just came out. I don't know. Some of it just I can't get into it. Unless there's some, hey, if you guys are out there that like more than just Run8, if you're into something, that there's a certain train simulator that you think I should be checking out, it was because of recommendations from people that got me into Run8 in the first place. So if there's something I'm missing out there, by all means, let me know. But still to this day, I haven't seen anything that has done the world save multiplayer like Run8 does. And I still say that they're the best. There's no competition for them yet. The immersion factor, now that's a different thing, because to me, Train Sim World has really gone a long way with the immersion that makes you feel like you're part of it. The problem is if a game, and we have a few of these games, a lot of these games have suffered repeat playability factors. Like you basically get into it and you're doing the same thing. Like Farm Simulator is a classic example. I loved it at first, and it was like, oh man, it was so cool, and it was neat, and being able, and then I started thinking about it. It's not really simulating how do you simulate a farming season and all that other stuff, and the way it does it, it's weird. And you can get season mods and you get this mod and that mod, but then it just was rinse repeat it was eat sleep repeat. That's all it was, and it was just like, man, it didn't matter. And I think having that big world that Ski had really made it feel that way. And I never went back to the small world. Neither did my son. My son was just like, we were talking about this weekend. I'm like, nope, couldn't do it. So that's kind of the way things are going with me as far as these projects that are coming up. So yeah. Anyways, that's it for now, I guess. I can't think of anything else. So yeah, I'll be back about 6 p.m. tonight, and I'll do another live stream of that, perhaps. I'll see. If I'm not on, it's because I had a talk with my son. My son's not going to watch it or something. Or I won't bother. I don't know. But I'll probably be into that tonight, so we'll see. But it's I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, I love space exploration. I love seeing new worlds, blah blah blah. Even new lands on Earth. That's why I love the survival stuff as well. Okay, guys, that's it for now. I'll probably be back at 6 Eastern tonight, and we'll go with that program again for probably tonight and Monday, and then yeah, we'll see what happens by Wednesday. Hopefully we're back into Run8 by then. So that's the goal. I mean, I definitely want to get back to Run8 on this channel. At least the dispatcher portions from the server. So I'll let you guys know. Anyways, have a good one. We'll talk to you later. See ya.